It's that time of the year again, when football club owners rub their hands in glee as dollar signs flash before their eyes and the thoughts of air miles racking up crosses their minds, as players and staff are ferried to the far-flung and money-rich corners of the world to try and make as much money as possible whilst providing as little as possible in the shortest time they can get away with. Not for the world's most famous clubs is the summer and pre-season a chance for players to work off that tiny bit of ring rustiness that may have accumulated in the increasingly short club season. Oh no, pre-season is a chance to rip off the fans who live on the other side of the world, who are only too willing to power their hard-earned cash to catch a rare glimpse of their favourite club and players in the flesh. Knowing this and on a mission to exploit this knowledge to the fullest means that no matter which side of the world you look at, in late July or early August, you'll find a club hawking its merchandise using images of players who invariably aren't part of the tour squad because they've been playing far more important matches until a week or two ago. If you're an old fart like me, you might remember when a pre-season tour consisted of a few games in Scandinavia, Austria and Ireland, with the occasional trip to sample the delights of North Yorkshire and Devon. These games were invariably played in front of a few thousand people and generally pretty gentle affairs, with players being put through their paces in a way that was designed primarily to burn off the few too many off-season pints and less healthy meals consumed over the summer. For years, this was the way of things, but somewhere along the line, a shift took place. It would be easy to say that this was when Sky bought the rights to the Premier League, but I remember going to a pre-season game at Old Trafford against Fluminense, I think it was, in the mid-80s, where there were over 30,000 people, but admittedly this was the exception rather than the rule, and generally speaking, no matter who you supported, you were only expected to pay a few quid on the door. Whilst not laying the blame at the feet of Sky Sports entirely, they've got a hell of a lot to take responsibility for. With the influx of their money, clubs started to understand just how much of a license to print money a football club could be, as football shifted away from being the property of the people who lived in the same country, if not the same town as the club they followed, and into a global entertainment business. It acquired fans from all corners of the world, and understandably, these fans started to demand that they were able to see the team in the flesh. Now, football club owners are many things: tone deaf, as thick as pig shit, not remotely interested in football, for the most part at least. The one thing they do care about, though, is money. With the broadening appeal of football, and in particular the more successful clubs, the opportunity to make a lot of money was too good and too big to miss, and Manchester United chose this time to wake from their 25-year slumber and start smashing the shit out of everybody else. As lovely as Scandinavia, Austria and Ireland are, in the eyes of a football club, they don't have the requisite cash flow that America and Southeast Asia do. In countries and continents of that size, it's not a question of how you make money, but how much do you want to make. In the UK, you have a largely captive market who you can rip off on a weekly basis for 9 months of the year, but in the wider world, you have to make your cash whilst the sun shines. Generally speaking, I don't pay too much attention to any game we play until the first league game of the season. A glorified friendly such as the Charity Shield, or a series of glorified friendlies such as a pre-season tour, has as much appeal to me as a Soccer 8 game full of Z-list celebrities, but I'm ever so slightly torn this year. This summer has been such a pleasant change, with so much positivity both on and off the field and around the club, that I find myself watching the snooze fest that was the Rosenborg game, the more aesthetically pleasing but ultimately meaningless Rangers game, and I'm considering catching a bit of the games against Arsenal and Liverpool. Will I stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning or pay for MUFC to watch them? Well, I balls. I'm not that interested in being seen as a top red that I'd go that far, but seeing a bit more of young Len might be quite tempting. This isn't a criticism of the people who choose to attend these kind of games, but more a criticism of how the clubs use these fans to make money. For fans in other countries, attending a match involving United and Liverpool sounds like a big game, and it's promoted as such, but it's not. It's a Taylor Swift concert sold as a blood and guts rivalry. The promotion will focus almost exclusively on this type of crap, but I'd guarantee that the fans watching care far more about the result than anyone on the pitch. As has become common in football over the last few years, the desire to make even more money is the only motivation. The players, already overworked, are dragged all over the world in a chase for money, and the fans are misled to expect a product they certainly won't be getting. The promo for the United tour features prominently players who won't be there, but none of some that will. It would be far more honest if the posters featured last season's under-18 side, who will be making up a large portion of the squad, but it won't. But there again, when has honesty ever had a place in football?